Good morning class. Today we are going to see a new topic, that is punctuations in English. So first I am going to ask a question. What is punctuation? What are all punctuations? I will tell you, punctuations are nothing but signs and symbols that are used in English to denote some hidden meanings. Okay, so it will instead of using words, we are using these punctuations or these symbols to give some additional meaning to the sentence or the whole paragraph. Okay, so now we are going to learn the uses and purpose of punctuations in detail. Okay, are you ready? Yes. So I have given here a list of punctuations that are on the basic level and their meanings. Okay, so initially we are going to start the punctuations with the full stop. Do you all know the full stop? In other words, full stop is also called as period. Okay, so here full stop, where we are using full stop, anybody know? Yes, we are using full stop at the end of a sentence. Okay, so usually we are using full stop or period at the end of a sentence or a completion of an idea. Okay, so for example, the boy goes to the school. So this sentence is complete. It is having a complete idea or a meaning. So at the end of this sentence, we are using a full stop. That denotes that the sentence is complete. So that's the end of an idea. So wherever we use a full stop or a period, it denotes what? The whole idea is complete or the sentence is over. Clear? So that is the usage of full stop. And next we are coming to the comma. Do you know comma? So this is the comma. And what is the purpose of using comma? Anybody knows? Yes, I will tell you. The comma is used to separate items in a series. So, for example, comma will be used in a sentence like the girl went to the shop and bought 3 dresses, and the colors are green, yellow, and pink. So, these 3 colors, green, yellow, and pink. So, these 3 comes under a single series. Okay. So, in this series, instead of putting a full stop or something else, we are using a comma to continue the list. Okay, so to separate items in a list, so the green, yellow and pink dress are coming in the item list of a series, and we are separating it with the usage of a comma. Okay, so clear? So that's the purpose or the usage of comma in a sentence. So next is colon. So have you heard of the word colon anywhere? Yes, colon is also a punctuation, and the purpose of using a colon is to introduce a list. Okay, so this is the symbol of a colon, the 2 dots. Okay, so why we use colon in a sentence? We use colon to introduce a list. For example, the boy bought colon, and we add the list of the things that the boy bought from the shop, like toys, vegetables, fruits, dresses, and electronic gadgets, like that. So we can add the list by putting a colon before. Clear? So this is the purpose of using a colon in a sentence or in a passage in English. Okay. So yes. Now let's go to the next one, that is semicolon. Semicolon is nothing but a different form of colon, and instead of using 2 full stops, we use a full stop and a comma at the below. Okay. So look at the purpose of using a semicolon. Semicolon is used to join the two independent clauses. Okay, so 2 independent clauses means 2 independent ideas, 2 different ideas. Okay, so the boy bought a house. Raju bought a car. Okay, so these 2 things are different clauses. These 2 have different meanings. Okay, this boy bought a house and Raju bought a car. But if we are going to join these 2 sentences, if we want to join these 2 clauses, we have to put a semicolon in between the 2 sentences or the 2 clauses to join them into a simple or a single clause. Okay, so semicolon is used to join 2 independent clauses. Clear? Yes. So the next one is question mark. Question mark is very common. We all know why or what is the purpose of using a question mark. So question mark is used to show that it is a question. So for example, can anybody tell an example of a question mark? Yes, I will tell one thing. What is your name? What is your father's name? Where are you coming from? Which is your native? What period is this now? So like that, we are asking questions. While asking, we need not put any question mark there, but while writing, we have to use what? Question mark after completing a question. Clear? So that is the only thing denotes that the following sentence is a question. Clear? Yes. So this is the purpose of using a question mark in a sentence. Okay. So now let's come to the next one, that is hyphen. Hyphen is nothing but a small dash. Okay. So hyphen. What's the purpose of hyphen? It is used to indicate that two words are with combined meaning. Okay. So have you seen a hyphenated word? So hyphenated words are nothing but two different words, but they combine together to give a different meaning or a combined meaning. For example, cooking hyphen oil. So cooking oil. Pick up. Okay. School goer. So like that, we add hyphen to add two different words to give a combined meaning. So that is the purpose of using hyphen while writing in English. Okay, clear? Yes. Now let's move on to the exclamation mark. Exclamation mark, you already know. Exclamation mark is nothing but it is used to express sudden emotions like joy, sadness, and other emotions or a sudden outcry. Okay. So exclamation mark is nothing but it is a sign that is used to denote a sudden emotion like joy or sadness. Clear? So this is the exclamation mark, and we use it to add emotions, add additional emotions to the sentence. Okay. So that is the purpose of using an exclamation mark in English. So this exclamation mark is also like at the end of a sentence or at the end of an exaggerated word. Okay. So that's the purpose of using an exclamation mark. Clear? So now we are moving on to the next one, that is apostrophe. Apostrophe is nothing but a small comma-like structure. Look at this. Can you all see this? Yes. It is same as comma, but the meaning is different. Okay. So apostrophe is used to show when a letter or a number that has been left out. Okay. For example, while writing don't or do not. So instead of writing it fully, what we will write? We will write it as D-O-N apostrophe T. So what's the meaning? To show when a letter or a number has been left out. So here, which letter has been left out? Yes, the O has been left out. Instead of writing the O, we are using that apostrophe symbol. So this is the purpose of using apostrophe in English while writing. Clear? Yes. So now let's move on to the next one, that is slash. Slash is nothing but a slanting line. Okay. So what is the purpose of using slash? To separate letters, numbers, etc. For example, while writing date. Okay. So while writing date at the let's say top, what we will write? How we will write the date? For example, I will write what's today's date? 09/06 and 2021. So like that we write. So this slash separates the day, month and year. So these slash are used to separate letters or numbers. Okay. So another example for word or letter is only children / women are allowed. So here, instead of using a comma or any other punctuations, they are using simply a slash to separate those two words. Okay. So this is the purpose of using a slash. Understand? Yes. So next is quotation mark. Quotation. This is the quotation mark. Okay. So inverted commas. Clear? So what is the purpose of using a quotation? Have you ever seen usage of quotation in any other text? Yes. Actually, we'll see these things while marking what? While marking some idea or an opinion or a thought given by some author or some scientist and all. Okay. So let's see the purpose of a quotation mark. The quotation mark is used to indicate a phrase that someone else has said or written. Yes. So, for example, Einstein, for example, many scientists said many opinions or many ideas regarding their own subjects. Okay. For example, Shakespeare said to be or not to be, like that. So these are all like quotations said by the famous personalities. So if there is a phrase or a sentence that is given within quotes, we have no rights to change or modify that idea, because that idea, that particular idea is said by someone else. So the copyright of that idea belongs to that particular person. So we don't have any authority to change that particular idea that is within the quotation mark. Okay. So once if a sentence or a phrase is given in a quotation mark, the main thing is that idea is said by someone or written by someone. Okay. So that's the purpose of using a quotation mark. Clear? Yes. So now let's move to the next one, that is a round bracket. Have you seen the round bracket? This is the round bracket. And what's the purpose of using a round bracket in a sentence? To add extra information to a sentence. Okay. So while, for example, while writing about a place or a public place, so we'll write about that place, or for example, that is a museum. That is the international museum, international ornamental museum, like that. So like that we'll be using classic things, or that like that we'll be writing. In the bracket we'll write the location of the place. Okay. So that particular thing inside the bracket will give an additional information or an extra information to the sentence. So that is the purpose of using a round bracket in a sentence. Understand? Clear? Yes. So next, and the final one is ellipsis mark. Ellipsis mark. Can you all able to see the ellipsis mark? That's nothing but 3 dots at the end of a sentence. Okay. So what is the purpose of using a ellipsis mark? One or more words have been intentionally left out. Okay. So what is the purpose? It denotes that one or more words have been intentionally, which means knowingly they are left out. Okay. So that's the purpose of using a ellipsis mark. For example, while writing a story, we all know some dialogues common in that story. Instead of writing the idea or the dialogue completely, we just add the 2 or 3 words and we just put the ellipsis mark, and it denotes that everybody knows that idea in common. So instead of writing that whole idea completely, we just put the 3 dots, that dot name is ellipsis mark, to denote that the idea is well known by everyone. So that's the purpose of using a ellipsis mark while writing in English. Clear? So now let's do a short recap. What are all the punctuation marks we have seen now? First one is full stop or period. It is used at the end of a sentence to complete the idea. Next one is comma, that is used at to separate items in a list. Next one is colon, to introduce a new list. Next one is semicolon, to join 2 independent clauses. And the next one is question mark, to add at the end of a question. Hyphen, next one is hyphen, to indicate 2 words with a combined meaning. And next one is exclamation mark. You all know exclamation mark is nothing but to express a sudden emotion like joy and sadness. And the next one is apostrophe. Apostrophe is nothing but to show when a letter or a number has been left out. Okay, so like this, do not. So instead of writing do not, we write don't. So that's the use of apostrophe. And the next one is slash. Slash is nothing but it's just a slanting line that is used to separate a letter or numbers in a series, like date or something like that. Okay. The next one is quotation mark. Quotation mark is nothing but it is a sign that is used to denote an idea or a sentence or a phrase that is said by a well-versed personality or an important person or a famous personality. Okay. So that's the usage of quotation mark. And the next one is round bracket. Round bracket is nothing but verb. It is a symbol that is used to add information inside the bracket, that is extra information to a sentence. So that is the usage of round bracket. And the final one is ellipsis mark. Ellipsis mark is nothing but it is used to denote 1 or more words that have been intentionally left out, because the idea is very common or known by everyone. So that's the purpose of using the ellipsis mark at the end of a sentence. So I hope you all understand the main idea of using punctuations in English, and the importance or the usage of these punctuations while writing and reading. Okay, so this will be very useful while doing reading comprehensions and also while doing writing comprehensions. I hope you all understood the meanings. Yes, today we are going to introduce a new exercise, that is passage comprehension. Okay, so before going to this exercise, first let me know how many of you know the meaning of the word passage. Anybody know? Okay, I'll tell you. Passage is nothing but a paragraph, a small paragraph. Okay, so passage is nothing but a small paragraph or a set of paragraphs, one or two. Okay, so it consists of a few lines of something, about something. Okay, so next is comprehension. What do you mean by comprehension? Comprehension is nothing but understand. Okay, so comprehension skill is nothing but understanding things or ideas or concepts and like processing in your mind and giving answers. So that's what. So passage comprehension, in the sense we have to understand the given passage and we have to answer the questions given below. Okay, so this is the main idea of the exercise, passage comprehension. So today we are bringing you a passage comprehension question. We are given a passage and a few questions. So now we are going to learn how to deal with this passage comprehension exercise. Clear? Shall we start? Yes. Yes. Look at the title. Read the passage and answer the questions. So the passage is given here. So what we are going to do is just read the passage, understand, comprehend, understand the meaning given in the passage, and we are going to process the whole idea, and then finally we are going to answer the questions given below. Clear? Shall we begin? Yes. So here the passage is given. So the title of the passage is sculpture. Okay. So have you ever heard the word sculpture before? Sculpture, the word, yes, C-U-L-P-T-U-R-E, sculpture. So sculpture is nothing but a statue. Okay, statue. Do you have an idea of statue? Just search the word sculpture or statue in the dictionary and find the meaning. It is nothing but a idol or a toy or a like a shape of a man or anything made of stone or other metals. Okay, so that's what we call it as a sculpture. And this passage, this given passage is written by whom? Louis Williams. Okay, so he is the author of this given passage. Shall we begin? Yes, just follow me while I am reading. Just follow how I read, and you have to reread, or you just follow me. Okay, yes, let's start. People all around the world make sculptures. A person who makes sculptures is called a sculptor. Okay. Sculptors use many different materials. Sculptors can remind us the important event or people. Some sculptors make their sculptures from stone. They use a variety of tools to cut and shape the stone. Stone sculptures last a long time. Many of the world's oldest sculptures are made of stones. Wooden sculptures are made by many sculptors in world. Sometimes the wooden sculptures are painted and decorated. Some sculptures work with metals. They hammer or bend it. Some sculptures are made by pouring melted metal into a mold. Some are made of clay when it is wet. Thus, it can be shaped easily and baked. So, this is the passage given here. So, from what we have read, have you got any idea or a central theme or a concept of this passage? Anybody else? Yes, this whole passage is about sculptures. Sculptures are like statues made of stones, wood, metal, or sometimes clay. So, this author Louis Williams is writing about the sculptures and the sculptors. Sculptors, who is called as a sculptor? Sculptor is nothing but sculptor is a person who is making sculptures. Okay, so he is an artist who is making sculptures with his tools. Have you ever seen sculptures? Which are the places we can find sculptures? Anybody? Yes, we can see sculptures in temples. In most of the temples in South India and even in the North India, we can see sculptures, old sculptures, and in monuments and in museums, and even in Mahabalipuram. Have you ever visited Mahabalipuram? So in that place also we can see many sculptures. So sculptures are nothing but they are statues or they are like designs made from stones with the help of tools made by whom? Sculptures. Okay. So what they are telling is people around the world make sculptures. So people in all over the world they are making sculptures. A person who makes sculpture is called a sculptor. So who is a sculptor? The person who makes sculpture is called a sculptor. Okay. S-C-U-L-P-T-O-R. That's sculptor. Sculptor is the person who makes sculptures. Okay. Sculptures use many different materials. So the sculptures use many different materials, not only stone, they use many different materials. So sculptures can remind us the important events or people. So the sculptures, the statues, they remind us what? They remind us important events and what? Important people. Okay, so in the olden days, do they had cameras or any other digital medium for recording or capturing the moments of people? No, they just used what? Paintings and these kind of sculptures to what? To capture or to remind a person or a king or a most important person in their community. Okay, so sculpture is one among them. Sculptures. Okay, so in the ancient period, people the sculptures used to sculpture the idol of a king or a god or a most important person or a holy person to remind them for their future generation. So the sculptures or remind us important events or people. So in temple and all, we can find in the old temple like Tanju temple, like in that temples we can find sculptures reminding important events and important people. Okay, so that's the main purpose of doing sculptures in the ancient period. The next is some sculptures make their sculptures from stone. So some sculptures make their sculptures from stones. Initially, stone was their main thing to make sculptures. Okay. Later, they used a variety of tools to cut and shape the stones. So simply we can't design the rock or a stone into a sculpture. Right. So for that, what we need? We need variety of tools like hammer, chisel, and all. So like these tools, we use these tools to make the sculptures. Okay. Some sculptures last a long time. So yes, it's very true. Even in the museum, even in Pondicherry Museum, even in Chennai Museum. So wherever you go, you can find some sculptures because the stone sculptures last for a long period of time. So it won't easily get damaged or it won't easily get corroded. Okay. So that's the purpose. Next, many of the world's oldest sculptures are made of stones. Yes, that's a point I said before. Many of the world's oldest sculptures are made of what? Stones. Yes. So stone sculptures are lasting for a long period of time. Okay. Next, wooden sculptures are made by many sculptors in world. Okay. So the other type of or the other variety of sculpture is wood. Okay, wooden sculptures. So wooden sculptures are also made by sculptors in different parts of the world. Sometimes the wooden sculptures are painted and decorated. Okay, so it is highly impossible, not highly impossible. We can't find any stone sculptures painted. But in the case of wooden sculptures, they used to paint and decorate it. Okay, to get even more a beautiful look. So that's why the wooden sculptures are sometimes painted and decorated. Clear? Some sculptures work with metals. Okay, so now after stone and after wood, some sculptures are using what? Metals. Okay, so they work with metals. They hammer or bend it. So how? If it is a stone, we can use a hammer and a sculpture. Chisel. If it is a wood, the same process. But if it is a metal, how they're making sculptures? Yes, they are doing it by hammer or bend it. They are bending the metal and making sculptures. Some sculptures are made by pouring melted metal into a mold. So, in some cases, most of the idols, god idols in temples, they are made of 5 metals. Okay, sometimes in some places. Okay, so what they do, they heat the metal and they melt the metal and they pour it into the mold. Mold is nothing but the shape that is already made. Okay, whether it may be a god's face or it may be a god's idol, anything else. Okay, so what they do, they just melt the metal and they pour it into the mold. Mold, if you just check the meaning of the mold in the dictionary. Okay, mold is nothing but already shaped or already designed shape. It will be hollow inside. If we pour the molten metal inside and let it cool down, after that if you break the mold, the design will come as it is in the mold. Okay, so that's the idea. Clear? Next, some are made of clay. When it is wet, thus it can be shaped easily and baked. Okay, so now they are using the material for clay. Have you ever heard of the material clay? Not the clay you play. Okay, you used to play like toxic clays. No. This is the real clay. That is mud. Okay, so the people use the clay also to make sculptures in the olden days. So how it will be? The clay will be very hard. Only if we wet them with water, it will become soft. At that time, they just shape the clay according to their imagination, and they just make shapes. And then what they do? They bake it. Bake in the sense they put it in the oven, heat them to make it strong. Okay. So that's the process of making sculptures with clay. So that's all about the whole idea in this passage about sculptures written by Louis Williams. Okay, I hope you have understood what is given in this complete passage. So now we are entering into the question answer part. Answer each questions. Okay, so look at the first question. What we call a person who makes sculptures? Okay, can you understand the question? What we call a person who makes sculptures? So who is a person who makes sculptures? What we call him? Yes, we call him as a sculptor. So how we are going to write the answer? The person who makes a sculpture is called as a sculptor. Sculptor. Yes, C-U-L-P-T-O-R. Sculptor. Sculptor is the person who makes what? Who makes sculptures. Okay, whether it may be a stone sculpture or a wooden sculpture or a metal sculpture or even a clay sculpture, but a person, if he is making sculptures, means he will be called as a sculptor. Okay, so the spelling is important. Yes, C-U-L-P-T-O-R. Sculptor. Clear? Have you understood? Yes. Now let's move on to the next question. what are the different materials the sculptures use. So this question is most probably you will be answering the same. What are the materials the sculptures use to make sculptures? Anybody knows? Yes, it's already given in the passage. You have to just remind the passage and we are going to write the answers. The sculptures use the materials like what? What are the materials? Stones, metals, wood and clay. Okay, so clay is the last one. Okay, so these are the materials they used to make statues, okay, or sculptures. Clear? Yes. Look at the third question. How do they make sculptures from stone? So, what's the question? How people make or how sculptures make sculptures from stones? Okay, so that's the question. For that, you all know the answer. I have written the answer. Just take a look at this. They use different varieties of tools to cut and shape the stones and make sculptures. So how they make sculptures? The sculptors, what they use varieties of tools like hammer, chisel and other important tools to shape the stone and make what? Sculptures. Clear? So they use all these tools to make sculptures from stones. So that's the process. So look at the fourth question. Which type of sculptures are painted and decorated? So which type of sculptures are painted and decorated? Stone, clay, metal? No. Yes, that's what? Wood. Because it is given there. Sometimes the wooden sculptures are painted and decorated. So this is the point where I'm insisting that you have to completely understand the passage and you have to process the complete idea in your mind, and then only you can answer the questions correctly. Okay. So if we did not study this clearly or if we did not comprehend or understand this idea, we can't answer that question. So now, which type of sculptures are painted and decorated? Which type? Yes, the wooden sculptures. So the answer is the wooden sculptures are always painted and decorated. Clear? So the wooden sculptures are always painted and decorated. Yes. So look at the final question. How the sculptures make sculptures? From clay. So from clay. Clay means I have already told you that clay is nothing but mud. Okay. So how people how the sculptors make sculptures from clay? Can anybody tell the process? This is given there and also it is given here. So they make sculptures from clay by making a wet to make different shapes and bake them. So how they are doing? Initially they will wet the clay, they will water the clay and they will wet the clay. So it will become soft. Then automatically what they can do? They can able to bend or they can make different shapes from the clay. And finally, what they do? They bake them. Bake them means they put it in the oven and heat them. So why they are heating them? Because to make them strong. Okay. If we heat the clay objects or ornaments or clay sculptures, it will become hard. The same formula or the same practice is followed in making bricks. Okay, do you know bricks? We used to construct the house, right? So the bricks also same. They are using the same practice. They will just mold the brick and they will heat in the or they will bake in the oven. So that makes the brick strong and the building strong. So that's the process. So clear. So this is the main idea given in this passage, and so by understanding the complete passage, we are able to answer all these questions. So this is the idea of passage comprehension, and this task is multi-purposing. You can able to read. You can give reading practice also, and you can understand. You can learn the hard words, and then you are able to write answers on your own. It develops your skill to give answers or to write answers. So please try to learn and do practice, do reading practice and passage comprehension regularly to improve your reading skills and answering skills. Clear? Thank you.